Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you're tuned in to another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast. You know me, it's your boy, Jay Riddy in the building. And you know, if I'm in here, I ain't never in here alone. You know who is in here with me? The first lady of podcast herself, the queen of swerves and curves herself, the guru of wrestling gals, Miss Lady Great One in the building. Y'all say hi to the people.
Hey, what's up? How's everybody doing tonight? Let's get our wrestling on.
Damn straight, damn straight. Yeah, we rocking it out, just the two of us. Like we back like we never left. You know what I'm saying? All right, you know what we got going on tonight. Last week, WWE Super Showdown. Not really gonna do a whole lot of recapping the showdown as much as we want to talk about one match and well lack of match there was and how everybody is reacting to it. As well as talk about it Thursday, where we're going to talk about the state of WWE tonight. But before we get into any of that, you know what it's time to do. Toya, tell them what it's time to do. Tell them what it's time to do.
It's time to hit our damn music.
He looks like a fan.
Yeah. Marking out.
He was marking out, man.
450 off the top with the top.
Splash.
Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics.
Yeah.
Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out.
Now. He was marking out, man.
Shout out to my man Chill P. Chill P couldn't make it on the show with us tonight. Just life happens, you know what I'm saying? He'll be back on the show next week. Don't you guys worry. If you guys are Chill P fans out there, hey, we're Chill P fans as well. But tonight's topic, what I want to start off with. First of all, Lady Great One, did you watch the whole Super Showdown event yet last week?
I watched it from start to finish, top to bottom. There was a couple things in there that I loved, and there was a couple things that I wanted to talk about. But on the whole, seeing that this was just a special event, I did not have high expectations for this
At,
one. So it is what it is.
at all. You're absolutely right, and I felt the same way. I did not have any high expectations coming into this match. Into this event, just because it's a throwaway. None of the matches meant anything. They didn't have anything to do with the storyline that was currently going on. And if they did, we already knew that the storyline wasn't going to end in Saudi Arabia. So whatever was going on, it was going to carry over back into the States afterwards, and that's exactly what it did. Now, for me personally, from what I did get to catch, because I was at work. This is 2 p.m. on a Friday. I was at work. I may or may not have been watching WWE Network and streaming it on my phone while I was at work, and I may or may have not been using the company Wi-Fi when I was doing that. Now, if you are somebody who knows where I work and also works at the establishment that I work at, you didn't hear me say any of that just now. But from what I did catch,
But
what you say?
I'll say a but. On the other hand, Friday is my day off. I work, and Friday is one of the 3 days a week that I get off. So I was able to sit at home and watch it in its entirety with my family the way I wanted to. So I was able to enjoy it.
Oh nah, I had to sneak and watch it. I had to pull a move. See, I have a book bag that I take all my materials and everything to work in every day, and I had my book bag open, and I had my phone inside my book bag, and I had to kind of sneak and catch everything every now and then. But I did have my headphones on, so what I wasn't able to physically see, I was still able to hear. Um, since we are able to listen to music at my job, that's not such a big deal. Um, but there may have also been something that may have after that. Not to me personally, that may make that frowned upon going forward. Not the music listening portion, but we're not here to talk about my work politics. Let's talk about wrestling, shall we? I thought the event as a whole was actually pretty good. Being that I didn't have any high expectations, there were a lot of really good matches. Um, Andrade and Finn Balor. I'm sorry, Andrade and the Demon actually put on a really great Intercontinental Championship match. For that to be kind of a one-off in Saudi Arabia. Kofi and Dolph Ziggler put off a great match. Um, I'll even go as far as to say Triple H and Randy Orton had a pretty good match. So I think that the pay-per-view as a whole was pretty good in my opinion. What you think?
Well, I mean, the 50-man battle royal. When I found out that Mansoor was in it, I was like, there's no way he's losing it because he's at home. And he is one of the people who at Crown was it the Crown Jewel? Was it the World Cup? With one of those two. He came out and he introduced himself. So I figured when I saw it came down to final six and Mansoor was one of those guys. If you have not seen him on NXT, he's the truth. I really like this guy. I really have a good liking of him. So I definitely say that Mansoor is one of those guys that you need to be on the lookout for. And I think WWE is really high on him, especially being one of the first Saudi American or Saudi Arabian to come out of that actual country. So props there to Mansoor. And like you said before, the match between Demon Finn Balor, and Andrade, that to me was the best match on the entire card. I mean, hands down, that was the best match in the entire card. Andrade brought it to Demon Finn, and it almost looked like Demon was going to get his first loss. So, I mean, big props there. And you didn't mention it, but I actually really like the Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin match. I know you're not a fan of Baron Corbin, but I am a fan of Baron Corbin, and I got a lot to say about that. But we'll talk about that on Talk About It Thursday.
Yeah. We'll hold off on that one just a little bit, just a tad bit. But I really thought that even with that one, I actually will agree. I do think that that was a decent match. Um, but we'll talk more about that one later because I know we got a couple of things to mention with those superstars later. But out of all the good that we've been talking about in WWE Super Showdown, there was one match that everybody has had something to say about since Super Showdown left air, and it was that sorry main event match between 54-year-old Undertaker and 53-year-old William Goldberg. Now, like you said, we came into this event not really having high expectations for this, and we also know that these are people that the resident the residents of Saudi Arabia requested to see. But that might have very well been the worst wrestling match that I've probably ever seen in my life. And I've seen some bad wrestling matches. I saw the finger poke of doom in a few matches. And I would rather see that than to watch that match between The Undertaker and Bill Goldberg again. It got me to thinking, because there's a lot of people who've been commenting on this match. And not just us as fans, but other wrestlers have commented. It's highly noteworthy that Matt Riddle has been very critical of Goldberg since I can remember. And I think he's even went as far as Goldberg has went and blocked Matt Riddle on Twitter, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But Goldberg...
I do believe you're right.
Yeah, Matt Riddle said that Goldberg is officially the worst wrestler ever. Which is kind of harsh, to put that type of label on him at 53 years old and a guy who's had two matches in the last probably 15 years or more. So that's kind of unfair for him to say, but I get what he's saying because it was a terrible match. Do you think that Goldberg is the worst wrestler ever?
From all of the speculation and things that I've heard, like throughout the years, he is always been labeled as an unsafe worker.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a lot of talk from a lot of different people saying that Goldberg was not that good of a wrestler to begin with. Personally, I don't know. I didn't really watch Goldberg in WCW when he went 173-0. I was watching WWE at that time, and I wasn't really paying that much attention to Mr. Jackhammer himself.
Oh,
However,
those stats were padded. He probably got maybe like 60 wins out of that, but I think they were making up numbers as they went with that.
hey, like I said, I didn't watch it. I know Oscar beat his streak, so and those were legit. So I'll go by Oscar stats than I do by WCW's. Either way, um, I will say that I didn't have much hype for this match. Maybe a decade ago, yes, this would have been the match. This match happened 10 years too late, at minimum, in my opinion. When Goldberg first announced that he was coming to WWE and Undertaker arrived. I mean, and Undertaker was obviously there. If they had both been in this prime, this may have been a completely different story. But I will say that Undertaker did everything that he could to carry Goldberg throughout that match. So I'm not taking anything away from Taker at all. But also on the flip side of things, looking at how in the very first couple minutes of that match, how Goldberg did start out hot, and then when C hit that turnbuckle and cut his head wide open, that completely was unintentional. And I really think that he was fighting drunk, so to speak, because he had literally knocked himself out on his feet.
Yeah, so
So
that was his response. He said that he knocked himself out in the match, and he was pretty weak after that moment in the match. Which if that's the reason why a lot of those moves look sandbag, I can lay off of them a little bit. But just as a whole, it was
I
just
agree.
it was pitiful to watch.
As a whole, it was sad. It was like two pathetic old men trying to get out here and act like they're teenagers again. That's really what it was. So I can't say anything about the Undertaker on this because Undertaker did have to carry him throughout the basis of the match. So my issue does not lie with Undertaker. He's a consummate professional. He does everything that he can to get his matches over. And at the end of the day, I love Undertaker to death. He's been one of my favorites, like my entire life. Literally, my entire life, Undertaker has been one of my favorites. If that's saying anything, because I'm not a young girl, so that means we need to let Taker rest in peace.
So
Also,
on the flip side, other than Matt Riddle's comments, which he had a very similar sentiment to what you just said, he gave Bill Goldberg a lot of shit, and he praised the Undertaker, for being a legend. Um, a lot of other superstars, some in WWE currently and some no longer there, came to both of the performers' defense. One, even current AEW star Chris Jericho and former WWE star Chris Jericho said both The Undertaker and Goldberg are once in a lifetime top level performers in money draws. And even though they might not be at their peak, they had an outing that wasn't perfect. They're still better than most. And then he went on to say, I think Mick Jagger and Ozzy Osbourne would agree. Respect. Um, I've seen another post from Ric Flair defending both, as well as JBL defending both guys and talking about how professional they are and how talented they are, or were. And I definitely get where they're coming from, but it makes me think about one thing. When is enough enough? When is it? When is it time to put some of these old guys to rest and say, you know what, you had an amazing career, but you're done. Can't do it anymore. You can't cut the mustard. We're gonna go in a younger direction. When do we say that as a company? Because you got two guys in their
When
early 50s, and I, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, man. I Undertaker
I
already
like
felt.
this.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say it like this. When we're having, remember, we have a 10-year contract, with Saudi Arabia, right? When those guys stop requesting to see these people, maybe after this match they will stop. But when they stop wanting to see these specialty acts, these novelty acts, these classics, these legends, then we'll get some reprieve from them. But as long as they're still as they're still contractually obligated to put on these matches for them, and this is what they want to see, I don't really feel like this is going to be the last match unless they said, okay, after this one, yeah, I think it's time we go in a different direction. Until they call the strings, we're still hands tied.
Yeah, it's not the only these. I don't want to seem like I'm picking on the Undertaker and Goldberg. It's just the most recent that we've seen this happen. But we also know that even though Ric Flair came to the fence, Rick has a hard time and had a hard time leaving the ring as well. Even at 70 now, Rick has been active in the ring within the last 10 years, even after he retired in WWE, so to speak. Um, Shawn Michaels, who's the same age as Goldberg and the Undertaker. We saw him wrestle deep into his career and high on the card in old age. Now, Shawn Michaels is widely considered to be probably the best entertainer in WWE history, the best wrestler, the best main event guy that they've ever had. So I think that people are more willing to look the other way. But even Shawn Michaels was a shell of himself in those last few matches. And to see him come out with the bald cut at the last Saudi Arabia event, I think that was enough for me to say the same thing. Like, you know what, it's enough. We've seen Kane stick around. We've seen guys, Hulk Hogan. We've seen Hogan stick around and be involved in some way, shape, or form, even up into his age. So, when I I feel like there should be an age cutoff. Like, and I don't want to seem like I'm discriminating because we all know there's other guys who just hit their prime when they were in their 40s. Guys like Batista, who didn't hit his prime in WWE until after 40. You got guys like AJ Styles, who's 40 right now. But AJ Styles right now in 2019 will be different from AJ Styles in 2029. So, I mean, I feel like there has to be an age cutoff. Um, or at least like if you can't do certain moves, that there has to be a certain cutoff. And it's nothing against your your legendary status, nothing against your career, but it's just like, just quit, bro. Just be done with it.
Everybody, no offense, everybody wants to be Ric Flair. We all know that Ric Flair has worked well into his 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no thing about it. And Ric Flair, even when he was 61, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, Ric Flair was still cutting it up with the best of them and making the young guys look bad. But not everybody's Ric Flair. So they're all taking after his model, like, oh, well, if he can do it still at the age of 65, then why can't I go till I'm 65? And it's a mindset sort of thing. So really, I mean, yeah, I would like for them to put like a little cutoff there. Like, okay, so you're 50. We need to go ahead and start transitioning you into more of a backstage role. And then also you upon yourself need to know when it's time to gracefully bow out and pass the torch. Because some people's egos, I feel, are in the way of other people's shine. Shawn Michaels came back for one match. How many times have we seen Shawn Michaels in a match since he was requested in Saudi Arabia. And before that.
Not a lot, but I mean, granted that he's 53 in the last. If we go back in the last decade, in the last 10 years, um, let's put him at 43 instead of 53. He was still doing a lot of work in WWE as a performer at that time, even up into his
Right.
mid
But
40s, and even in my personal opinion, watching Shawn Michaels perform, even in the last couple of matches, is I thought that he was a shell of himself too. But other people didn't see it that way because everybody still loved HBK, and he was this generation's flair to them.
but at the same time, he also knew when to gracefully bow it down, pack it up, hang it up, and move on to something else. Because remember, until the fans had requested him, until he was begged for, until he was wanted, he had hung up his boots after that career streak versus career match with the Undertaker. Right or wrong.
Yeah, and that
So,
they both of them should have been done before that point too, honestly. But that's
but
I don't want to get too nitpicky here. And
at
then
the end of the day, nobody can do it forever. Vince can't do it forever. Shane can't do it forever. We can't. They can't do it forever. Undertaker cannot do it forever. So at some point in time, you got to let the younger guys take take shine of it because this is a young man's industry, and I'm going to leave it at that.
damn straight, I couldn't agree more in that instance. Now it's funny that you mentioned Shane McMahon uh, in the end there. So you were speaking earlier before we talked. Okay.
I mentioned Shane McMahon because that's one of my things for Talk About It Thursday. That's one of my Talk About It Thursday topics, and we want to go ahead and talk about the current state of WWE. And Shane McMahon is a huge, huge part of what I wanted to talk about tonight. So tell me honestly, Mr. Riddy,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. B, Mr. I can't call you Mr. Hot Tag because that's Mr. Chill P.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Boss, Mr. Showtime, whatever name you want to call yourself this evening, tell me honestly, what do you feel about the current state of WWE and where it's going with certain people like Shane McMahon basically hogging up most of the time spot that could be given to other people? This is our Talk About It Thursday topic, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it.
Honestly, you know my opinion on Shane McMahon. I feel like I say it probably every episode. I'm sick of him. Uh, Honestly, I think that somebody in the Game Runners group earlier this week said that Shane hadn't been pinned probably since Survivor Series 2018 on a pay per view,
I
which
believe
is it hurts my feelings to think that Shane McMahon hasn't been pinned at a pay per view in almost a year. In that time frame, he's defeated people like the likes of Roman Reigns and The Miz, main event guys.
Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Kevin Owens. He's taking out everybody at the top, and I understand he's creating this mega heel gimmick, this best in the world gimmick, where he's playing, a play on, everybody knows he's playing on the former WWE star CM Punk, and it's a shot at that. I feel like he's trying to model himself after his father, as far as saying that, hey, anytime that I want to, I can be the biggest star and the biggest heel in the company. Um, so with me personally, I'm torn on it. I don't like watching it, but from a booking standpoint, I understand it because what it's doing is it's building up so much more extra hatred on him than when the right person comes along and shuts him up. What they're probably expecting is the stock to go up for whoever that is, and they're expecting a draw for whoever does that. But I hate it personally. I don't like it. What do you think?
Well, here's my take on it. So, everything is pointed towards being the best in the world when it comes to Shane McMahon. Everything. He comes out here and he has Greg Hamilton doing his whole little spiel, his whole little introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, the best in the world. Okay, I'm not even going to do all that because it's just annoying. But I like it. It's annoying, but I like it. And I feel like it's really a call to CM Punk. Like, hey, like we could be doing you like this, but you decided to pull a bitch move, no pun intended, and punk out. So literally, that's really what it is. And I think that if CM Punk does come back and he beats Shane McMahon, imagine the pop for Punk coming back. And yes, I'm actually hoping that this is leading to them being in negotiations with CM Punk. I would love to see CM Punk come back. He could come back like Brock and be a part-timer. He could come back like Dwayne, as he always complained about Dwayne, and be a part-timer. So where's the problem in that, in my opinion? There's none. Shane McMahon is doing everything that the major heels in the company right now are currently not doing. He's making his presence felt on both shows. He's taking out the top stars on both shows. And it's only a matter of time before he decides to throw himself into a main event title picture. And if he does, chances are it's going to be against Kofi Kingston and not Seth Rollins. And the reason why I say that is because with the new deal on Fox, they want the top talent as well. So what better way to have Fox usher in this new era than with having, quote unquote, the best in the world as your world heavyweight champion until a certain Mr. Beast in the Bank cashes in on him. And that's where I'm seeing this leading to.
So you think that so let me get this straight. You think that Shane might be headed for a world title run?
I think that Shane is trying to do everything that Vince did. And Vince won the title. And Stone Cold beat him for the title. I'm thinking that Shane is going to win the title. Possibly Brock Lesnar beats him for the title. That way, Brock Lesnar is a champion again without him holding that tainted Universal Championship. Interesting theory, and it's only a theory.
I mean, I can get where that is coming from a booking standpoint. I probably am going to go into the direction of saying I don't like it, so to speak. I can't get into Shane. You know, I think that beyond the heel finishes, because we knew he was going to have cheating finishes and, you know, questionable wins in these victories that he's gaining over folks like The Miz and Roman Reigns. But beyond it, I think that when I look at his character, he's really thinking that he's that great. And I think
I'm looking at him and I'm thinking he's a McMahon.
Yeah, it's really like, it's kind of pissing me off because, like, you don't belong in the same ring as a lot of these folks. Now, don't get me wrong, Shane is very talented to be somebody of his age, for somebody who hadn't been in the ring in that many years, you know, and, you know, he's in good shape, but I don't want to see it. I just got to be honest. I don't want to see it on my TV.
But if you look at it from the opposite end, really, who has been pushed enough to stop this?
Nobody, really.
I mean, Roman going to SmackDown, he spends 95% of his time on Raw. Exactly.
But so does Shane.
Who? Exactly. Who has really been pushed enough in order to do this? You took your best performer from SmackDown, put him on Raw, and now he's hurt. I mean, I love Kofi to death, and don't get me wrong, this is nothing against Kofi Kingston being the champion, but at the same time, they haven't built Kofi to be that dominant top champion. You go back to good old faithful with Dolph Ziggler when it comes to Kofi Kingston, right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So let's replay that for the 20,000th time. You're keeping Orton out of the title picture, which is fine because Orton has been there forever and he's more or less just putting over people or just being in meaningless feuds. But keeping him out of the title picture like people were begging them to do with John Cena.
I honestly think the role that Orton has been playing has been perfect, though. Like, for the last, 5 to 6 years or probably even more, like you said, he's really just been there to kind of put over and enhance everybody else.
That was a role in which Cena was supposed to play, but Cena had a golden shovel. Orton doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. And then that's what the yawn is. Just thinking about Shane McMahon being the top heel in the company just makes me. I don't think it's exciting. I mean, now granted, there's some things that he does that is entertaining, like the whole, spearing Roman Reigns and doing the hoo-ah thing before that. That was funny, but it's like
at the end of the day, really, with all the shuffling and everything, and that leads me to my next person of discussion. Baron Corbin is the heel we deserve.
The heel that we deserve,
right?
or the heel that's being given to us right now.
No, Baron Corbin is the heel that we deserve. Baron Corbin, great on the mic.
Great on the mic?
He's great on the mic.
I don't see great. Where's great? What has he done great on the mic?
I see great on the mic. He's no Miz on the mic. And many people can be Miz or Jericho or Rock or Kevin Owens. But I'm going to go ahead and put that out there.
Bray Wyatt.
A lot better. He's a lot better than people like Elias or Drew McIntyre or Finn Balor or people that you can't understand when he talks.
No. I have to disagree with you on Elias. Elias is top tier level talking out there. Perfect at drawing heat, but he's so good at drawing heat that I think that people just like him no matter what he does. But Elias is much better.
Elias out of that situation. I'll take Elias out of that situation, but I will definitely say Drew or Finn or a few others in the bag. And there's definitely a lot of people who cannot talk and who do not have charisma. Baron Corbin has a ton of charisma. He does. You may not like the charisma. You may not like the heat, but Baron Corbin is that heel that we deserve. You keep shoving them down your throats. He's Roman Reigns. And you can't stand it.
You know what? If you say that Baron Corbin, right. If he's the heel that I deserve, you know what my response to that is? What did I do to deserve this? What did I... I've been a faithful fan for over the years. I've watched a lot. What did I do to deserve Baron Corbin?
And like I said, here's the point where me and you start to disagree. You don't see Corbin the way I see Corbin. And that all is a matter of perspective. And I think that Baron Corbin, he's done everything that has been asked of him. He has been general manager. He was Constable Corbin. He was doing everything that he needed to do. He's got good heat. I can't stand his wrestling attire. I do not like him wrestling in a long sleeve shirt, vest, and jeans. I do not like that. Excuse me. However, on the other side of things, I love the way that he approaches any situation. He's arguing with the refs. He's doing everything that a true heel is supposed to do. And like it or not, he is the heel Roman Reigns.
Ugh. I just, I will say some positive about Baron Corbin. Even though I'm very highly critical of Corbin, some things that I will say positive. I hated the Constable Corbin gimmick, but Constable
I love
Corbin,
it.
Constable Corbin made his heel stock go up way more than it was when he was just regular Baron Corbin. It's just that the name Constable was stupid. So I'm glad that they dropped that whole thing and he's not, part of the authority anymore or anything like that. I think that he has gotten better on the mic and in the ring. And I will even go as far as to say that I think that he would make a great mid card heel champion, maybe a U.S. champion, who right now is Samoa Joe,
Come
who
on.
it doesn't really seem like they really know what they want to do with him. I think that he should be a main event heel, honestly, but
Agreed.
but
But then again, some of the other alternatives that you have. Okay, take Samoa Joe out of the situation and keep him in the mid card where you have him. Who else is a heel, is doing everything, who has charisma, who has heat, who is athletic as hell, who can go up against big guys and make them look good, and who can go up against small guys and make them look good as well?
Drew McIntyre.
All right. But Drew McIntyre, what is he doing? Is he in the main event picture, or is Baron Corbin in the main event picture?
I think McIntyre has been more main event than Corbin when it comes to one-on-one matches. I think they're taking McIntyre out of the main event picture right now just to give the same old McIntyre versus uh, Roman Reigns feud that we've been getting for almost a year now. Which they're not bad matches either.
No, they're not.
They're not bad matches, but it's just like it's not really. Every time they feud, it's no substance behind the feud. So it's like it's a decent match that we see that means nothing after it's over with. Like, oh my goodness, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre are fighting. Then it's over. The best thing that they did with Drew McIntyre is him destroying the Shield, one by one. Um, that was the best heel thing that they did main event wise with him recently. But yeah, other than Samoa Joe and Drew McIntyre, I will say that the next heel in line on Raw would probably be Baron Corbin.
Exactly. Since Drew McIntyre has been utilizing the hell out of the wild card. I mean, every week he's out there with Shane on SmackDown. And remember, SmackDown was Drew McIntyre's show when he was first there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm the chosen one. Hey. I mean, I remember that like it was yesterday. Talking about that he was the chosen one with his baby face and had that awesome, awesome, awesome theme song.
Oh my God, that was like 10 years ago, man. And it seems like you said, I remember it like it was yesterday. But this was
Right.
it's like 2008. And he's just a completely different beast, a completely different animal now than what he was back then. And he still had the charisma and the ability back then, but now he's just I don't know. It's like he ate the old Drew McIntyre. And
Right.
yeah. But I mean, I'll give Corbin credit. Corbin is definitely much better. I hate him a lot less than I used to. I think that's about as much as you're gonna get out of me. I don't think you're gonna ever hear me say the words that I actually like him. But I hate him a lot less than I used to. He has improved in the ring. He's a lot more fluid with his moveset. Um, I asked for him to cut the hair a long time ago, and I was happy when he cut the hair because the bald spot was getting a little ridiculous. Um, I would just like for him to change the attire, like you said, and at that point, I think that he is one of those guys who is doing pretty much everything you ask of him. I can't disagree there. But I don't think that I deserve Baron Corbin. I don't think that I've done anything to deserve that. I think that I've been.
I'm not saying dirt in a bad way. You're saying it in a bad way, and I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm saying he's somebody who's going to show up every week. He's somebody who would defend the title every week. He's somebody who would be a fighting champion or at least be heel enough to come up with an excuse not to fight, but show up all the time. He's not Brock Lesnar. He's the opposite of Brock Lesnar. And that's why I'm saying that's the heel that we deserve, considering how long Brock Lesnar had that title reign. That's what I'm comparing it to is Brock. I'm not comparing it to anything else or anything negative about Baron Corbin. I'm talking about at least he'd be there and he'd show up and we'd see the title every week after week after week after week. And if I'm seeing correctly, they are going back to fighting each other at stomping grounds. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. And I will go as far as to say, like you mentioned earlier, that even his match with Seth Rollins at Super Showdown was a good match. It wasn't bad, but what I also will say about that as well, which is not really a knock against him, but who has bad matches against Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins has had great matches with almost everybody he's been with. What was it? What was it? SummerSlam or what was some pay-per-view when he fought the Miz for the Intercontinental title last year, and it was the best match on the card. Seth Rollins is just that good. He's the best in the world. Yeah, I said it, Shane. Screw you. Seth is the best in the world. Fight me, but not at a pay-per-view because I don't want you to get another pay-per-view.
I mean, you got to think about it like this. Outside of Seth Rollins, your best wrestler is AJ Styles, and he's hurt. Then after that, he's on SmackDown, and that's Dolph Ziggler. Okay. Right or wrong?
It's hard for me to put Ziggler at number 3. He's definitely in the conversation. There's a lot of guys that can go in the company right now. I would say after Seth and AJ, it could really honestly be a toss-up between like at least 10 guys to be number 3. Because we still have Daniel Bryan in the company. I would say Finn Balor is up there.
I forgot about Daniel Bryan. Yeah, because he's in the tag team division, I forgot about Daniel Bryan. Not going to lie there.
I'll put Finn in the category as well. I'll put Andrade in the category as well. There's a couple of guys in NXT that I could put in that conversation. Definitely Gargano, if not anybody else. So it's a lot of guys that I could put in that spot. But Dolph Ziggler is definitely in the conversation with all of them. I think he's still, in my opinion, Dolph Ziggler is the best seller in the business.
Completely agree. Completely agree there about Dolph being the best seller in the company. I mean, every time you hit Dolph Ziggler with something, you look like you killed him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
I think Kofi's up there too. Kofi might be my number 2 as far as sellers in the WWE.
Kofi's up there, but I wouldn't say he's my number 2 because everything that you do to AJ Styles looks like it kills him too. So,
I look back to the match that Kofi had with Sami Zayn about a month ago on SmackDown, where Sami Zayn had the opportunity to fight for to earn a shot at the WWE Championship. And just every time he hit that Blue Thunder Bomb, Kofi just sold it like he took like the power bomb from Kevin Nash mixed with Vader mixed with Psycho Sid. Like he was just, the way that he bent his back, I was just like, it just looked like he was getting contorted every time he got power bomb. And that's what really made me see like Kofi's really, really great at selling, but I don't want to get too far off task as far as it, because I can name a whole lot of guys, but I definitely so with you putting Baron Corbin, spotlighting Baron Corbin and spotlighting Shane McMahon, what is the overall current state of WWE with these guys? Do you think that they help the business in their spot right now, or do you think that they hurt the business?
Well, in a way, it does both. It depending on which way you're trying to look at it, because it's a huge help to the business because of the simple fact that we don't really have that huge top heel outside of Brock Lesnar that can do everything, but Brock Lesnar is also a part-timer, in which people hate him because he's a part-timer. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with what you're working with what you got. Yes, you could be boosting other people like Samoa Joe. You could be boosting Drew McIntyre. You could be boosting Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler. You could be boosting these other guys. But if people got enough hate, like the way that Baron Corbin draws hate and the way that Shane McMahon draws hate, then, I mean, if it works, right?
I mean, if it works, like you said. I can't argue with that. I can't argue
But
with
still,
that.
I'm just don't when CM Punk comes back to fight Shane McMahon for the best in the world.
Yes, said that.
Okay, I can definitely get with that.
And even I'm sorry, like I'm not sure if y'all can hear them in the background, but my son and my fiance have both kicked in and chimed in, and they are both advocates for Punk. They're singing the music. My son's jumping up and down talking about CM Punk. My fiance is singing his theme song. So if y'all can hear this out here, I'm not sure if you can or not, but yeah, they are both like advocating and jumping up and down when I mentioned CM Punk. And maybe he's double or nothing, all in, all out. I don't know. But maybe then again, he might come back to reclaim the best in the world.
He's gonna be a draw if he ever decides to come back to professional wrestling. He's gonna be a draw wherever he goes. If he goes to AEW, that's much more stock for AEW. If he goes to WWE, AEW could probably be in trouble in that aspect. As much as I hated a lot of CM Punk fans, I'll give CM Punk credit. He was a great character, probably the best heel of the 2000s in my opinion, best heel talker of the 2000s. I just don't think wrestling-wise he was as good as people tried to make me believe. But he was definitely, the entity himself was amazing. Even as much, for my wife, when we first started dating and I was kind of introducing her to wrestling, the first person that she became a fan of was CM Punk. He definitely has drawing power.
A lot of people.
He's got the drawing power. I can't knock that. He's definitely great. He's a great character, and he will make whatever show he ends up on interesting if he decides to come back. However, I did read an article. He responded to a fan on Twitter earlier today stating that when they asked him, "Are you going to disappoint your fans by not showing up at AEW?" he responded in one word: "Yes." So it makes me think that either he's pulling our tail, or he's pulling our leg and saying that he's gonna end up showing at AEW after all, or maybe he might be for real. Like maybe he might be done with wrestling for real.
I don't know. With the impact that Brock Lesnar brings every time he shows his face, when he does show his face, every time he shows his face, Raw gets better, doesn't it? Even though he don't wrestle that well. We don't have nothing to do with Brock Lesnar besides the fact that he does what's it? The suplex City, all that kind of stuff. Okay, quiet, buddy. The thing about it is, you don't like the way he operates either. But whenever Brock Lesnar comes into a situation, it gets better. Raw gets better. All right. If CM Punk didn't wrestle that well, it didn't matter. It's the same thing as Brock Lesnar. When he comes in, this show gets better. Right?
I can definitely agree with that.
And for y'all who don't know, that is my fiance. That is Mr. Matt himself, Mr. Matt Tastic. He made his introduction tonight. This is the first and probably one of the few times you will ever get to hear him say anything on here. And when he speaks on something, he speaks the truth. So that was Mr. Matt Tastic for you. And you also heard the little voice in the background. That's Mr. Marcus right there making his presence known as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce y'all to my family of wrestling fans, Mr. Matt Tastic and Mr. Marcus.
Hello.
My people.
Absolutely, right there. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Brock Lesnar, and I'm a big fan of CM Punk. And both these guys come in and stop the show. I mean, whenever Brock Lesnar, when you hear that music, this show is better. Back whenever CM Punk was there, when you heard and they started all that, there we go. The show was better. CM Punk had the mouth to talk this shit, regardless of his wrestling ability, regardless of Brock Lesnar's wrestling ability. It still makes the show better. It brings people in.
I agree, and that star power is something that can't be replicated. So I definitely agree with you there.
Every time here lately, there's been a show going on. What have you heard the crowd saying? CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. It's time. It's coming back. See that?
Yeah, I don't think that you can leave that on the table.
Gotta come back to make the show even better. And on that, I can't really disagree because I've been one of those people who waited how many years? 5 years now for CM Punk to make his epic return. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, maybe he'll disappoint us. Maybe he'll go to AEW, or maybe he'll just say, the hell with wrestling. I'm completely done whatsoever. But just know.
I don't think it'll be, I'm done with wrestling. It's done with Vince McMahon.
No, I think he said he was done with wrestling, period.
Really? Okay.
It wasn't just Vince, it was wrestling. But then again, if Bruno Sammartino and all the shit that he had to do with Vince McMahon can come back.
Him, the Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior, exactly. All these other men who had much bigger gripes with Vince McMahon would eventually come back and end their careers in WWE. Why can't CM Punk? I don't see. It's bigger than that. It's his pride more, or his ego more, that gets in the way of anything else happening with him wanting to come back or him not wanting to come back.
Before CM Punk ever left, before he ever left that first time, many years ago, CM Punk sat down there in Indian style at the front. And he said, "Hey, look here." And he gave out a bunch of shit, buddy. He was reading it. Oh, my God. It wasn't no scripted shit.
Yes, it was.
Really?
The pipe bomb was scripted.
Shit? Really?
The pipe bomb was scripted.
Because if it was, he done a damn good job of it. Right or wrong?
That's another topic we're going to have to discuss and bring that back. The pipe bomb. Was the pipe bomb scripted, or was it really his gripes? That's something else that we're going to have to talk about it Thursday.
He did get fired or whatever after that.
No, he came right back and he wrestled again right after that.
But his time was short. His leash was short after that. Was that really
not really?
That was scripted, or was that really something that CM Punk was sitting there?
CM Punk stopped Rose right after the pipe bomb.
Hey, I want my daggone ice cream bars and things like that too. I mean, all this kind of stuff.
We're still waiting for the ice cream bars, by the way. WWE, I know you're listening. I'm waiting on my ice cream bars.
I know. I'm definitely gonna mark out if it's just a random, Monday or even Tuesday. We hear Shane doing the best in the world, and just all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, like we just get stupid ad. This is why I hate YouTube. YouTube ruined a perfectly good segue there with this ad that I was going to do here.
Is a huge fan of the WWE that has been for a long time. I mean, back when the WWF and the daggone WCW and everything else. I know now I've come back and everything else, but I'm telling you, when you got somebody that's so good as these certain guys that can talk so daggone well, like the Miz and things like that, like CM Punk can do things like that, you got to have them back, man. It makes the show better. Right now has lost so much ratings because it's been bull crap. You've got to bring these dudes back, man. Get this shit fired up.
Imagine a pop when you're hearing Shane do the best in the world, and then all of a sudden.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, for copyright purposes, that's all we can play.
Go. Here you go.
I can only give you 10 seconds there. Other than that, I might get my video blocked on YouTube, so I can't do that.
When that dude comes out there on that song right there on damn Shane talking about he best in the world, that's the best in the world right there. Now you on it. That's going to make it so much better right there. And I think they're going to bring that in there too. That's why he's been doing this for a while. That best in the world deal is a plea to bring CM Punk back in.
If so, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Go ahead, Greg.
I know that CM Punk had some problems with John Cena.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, he had problems with John Cena.
And
I messed up, y'all.
That's really all I know.
Yeah, he had problems with John Cena. We all know that the little kids love John Cena. And yes, you're smarter than a fifth grader. So that was another ploy there. I'm not getting paid for this, but I'll just advertise for his new Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader on Nickelodeon. But either way it goes, if CM Punk does come back and we hear that cult of personality pop up, and we see him drop down to a knee talking about it's clobbering time, the thing, I'm all for it. I'm 100% for it. I know that he may not be the exact person that WWE wants right now, but it's definitely something that will boost ratings. And imagine how many people would tune in to that third hour of Raw where everything has been slipping if you all of a sudden heard Cult of Personality.
Exactly right. I agree with that. Right now, it's getting back down to the time where folks start sticking back for, let me go back for 6 months to a year or something and just get off of it. And then we'll come back and everything's going to be changed so much better. Well, something that's going to make it better right now is to keep this shit that you got going, but you got to bring CM Punk back in. You got to keep Brock Lesnar in there more often. That song has to hit every time, man. Let's pay him money to get out there and make this shit better.
All right. And that right there was my family chiming in on the current state of WWE.
But I will tell you one thing right now before I leave this damn thing. The best thing WWE, in my opinion right now, has got is Braun Strowman.
Oh. All we need to hear is
okay. We got you, buddy. You want to hear CM Punk, and then you also want to turn around and hear My Time Is Now. We know. So we greatly appreciate the feedback of my family.
Much appreciated, much appreciated. The family of great ones, so to speak.
That's
Mr.
right.
Magnificent Mike. Magic Mike.
Matt.
Matt. Magic Matt. I know him as P.
That's right.
There's too many P's in this area. You got the official Chill P, and then you got Mr. Matt-tastic. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that a discernible difference between the two. Mm-hmm. And then you also have Mr. Marcus who wanted to chime in.
Let's talk about a couple other ones real quick.
It's up to Jay Ritty here. He's got the floor.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. Let me go ahead and talk a little bit about Ricochet. Oh my God. This guy is one of the best athletic, never makes a mistake. This dude should have been there a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I know he's still a little bit younger than I am, things like that, but this guy does not make a mistake. He's so athletic. He's so humble with everything that he does. What a good guy that we have in here in the WWE. Do the moves and the shit that he does. Aleister Black, when he was with Aleister Black and everything, what a combination they had. Right or wrong?
Yeah, they were a great tag team.
They were a great tag team, but at the same time, they're two singles competitors thrown together.
Right.
And
which was thrown together. It was like they've done a lot of times to throw people together. But how many of them have been that damn good? together.
I agree with them being great together. They had great chemistry, great charisma. They worked very well with each other. However, they're better as standalone counterparts.
Now, what's the deal with Aleister Black now? He was in there the other day yelling for somebody to come fight him.
And that was another topic of conversation that we did not quite get the
Randy
chance.
Orton? Is he said he gonna come in there and get that or what?
Actually, I think it's more of a ploy to the Funhouse.
Ooh.
The Firefly.
The Firefly House?
The Firefly Funhouse, maybe. What do you feel about that, Jay Reddy?
Man, get your popcorn ready if they have a feud. That's all I got to say about that. Aleister Black and Bray Wyatt, shut up and take my money. Like that's money all over that right there.
That is a feud that we need from SummerSlam to WrestleMania.
No doubt, dude.
If you want to build a story, which WWE has not done too often as of late, is to build a long-lasting story. Those two could be involved in a huge, long-lasting story. Right or wrong?
That could be in a great story.
I mean, you got the Devil's Blood and Aleister Black versus the Firefly Funhouse of Bray Wyatt. I mean, that can be the best feud to come out since, wow. I can't imagine a feud that's been that good. I can't even think of one right now.
So do you have Aleister as a face in this one, or do you think that both of them are like neutral in this moment?
Both of them are neutral. They both will have to be neutral because at the same time, Bray can be heel or face depending on if he's hurting or healing. And then Aleister Black could be heel or face depending on whether he's actually tapping into the black mass or not.
I like it.
Right?
I like it.
I mean, either way it goes, them two together, I feel would be the perfect feud for Bray Wyatt to come out on and for Aleister Black to open up with.
I don't like the way that Finn Balor, that they're doing with Finn Balor, where they're going to say, in this pay-per-view, it's going to be the demon.
I disagree.
That demon has got to come out whenever it comes out, not tell it to the world when he's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're talking about the announcement of the demon.
Right.
I mean, in high-profile shows, now you got to take Super Showdown aside because Super Showdown was a specialty event. You got to kick that out. So 95% of the time, Finn Balor is Finn Balor, Balor Club Worldwide. So take Super Showdown out of the mix, take the specialty event out of it. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get regular Finn Balor.
Right.
So
you shouldn't know when the demon is coming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he hasn't been in a feud relevant enough to bring out the demon.
Yeah, but I really hope when Finn Balor comes out with his demon, probably for next WrestleMania. We'll know.
All right. And you heard it from the babes themselves. Out of the mouths of babes will truth be spoken. Unbiased, unfiltered children.
Amen.
If the children want the demon, they gonna get the demon, right? Give the kids what they want.
Damn straight. Well, I don't think that there's much else that I can say on top of that one. Great topic from Mr. Matt and Mr. Marcus.
You gotta forgive me. Everybody wanted to be in on this show, so almost everybody was in the show.
Hey, that's perfectly fine as long as we keep it all in the family. You know, we're a family show, literally and figuratively. But with that being said, we're gonna jump right into our final thought tonight. Lady Great One, you got anything that you want to end the show on a tip with us?
Actually, I'm gonna let you go first tonight, sir.
All right. So my final thought is not going to be wrestling related tonight. I'm gonna take a dip into our partner debate amongst friends lane a little bit here. Uh, Tonight, Game 6 is currently going on of the NBA Finals. And I just wanted to say that I hate both teams and I wish both of them could lose. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I hope they die. I hope they burn in hell. All right? I don't want Kawhi Leonard. I'm a Spurs fan. I don't want Kawhi Leonard to win a Finals MVP. And I don't want him to win another ring without San Antonio. But also, as a San Antonio fan, I'm tired of seeing Golden State win every year. So, yeah. But I guess if I have to pick one, I would rather see the Toronto Raptors win just because I want to see somebody different. And I was a huge Vince Carter fan growing up. And that is my final thought.
My final thought is not wrestling related, just like you. And I'm ready for the NBA finals to get over. I'm completely over it. I don't care about the NBA. I don't watch basketball. Only thing, if it's not Carolina Tar Heels, then I don't care about it. My
Speak
Tar
on it.
Heels didn't win the championship, so I don't care about the NBA. And by the way, congratulations to the St. Louis Blues for winning the NHL Stanley Cup.
First time
I'll
in
give them.
history.
I don't care about hockey, but I'm going to give credit what credit is due. You beat the Boston Bruins. Good job for you. And that right there is my unrelated final thought.
All right. Well, that'll be the end of the Marking Out Amongst Friends podcast. Thank you guys for listening tonight. Was a great show. You know how we do. We do this every Thursday night, CP time. So just be on the lookout for us. Subscribe to our page on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Marking Out Amongst Friends. Subscribe to us. Turn your notifications on so whenever we go live, you go live right with us. All right. Also follow us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Marking Out Amongst Friends. All right. We're also on Player.fm. We're also on iTunes. We're also on Google Play. Just download the Google Podcast app, look up Marking Out Amongst Friends, and there you will find us, and you can flip through all the bad episodes. All right. But before we close the show out tonight, you know what it's time to do. We going just one more time for you. We're gonna hit my damn music. I'm sorry, excuse me. We're gonna hit our damn music.
He looks like
Marking out.
he was marking out, man.
450 off the top with the top splash. Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics. Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out.
We was marking out, man. Ah! Holla.